Hey, do you remember? Did you? Do you remember the Robin Hood the whistling rooster song?
Yeah, I can't do it because I can't whistle.
Yeah, we just found that out. Hey, you guys, I forgot to hit record, so we lost some stuff. That's fine. So it's do 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 do. You know, does that sound recognized? Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, vaguely.
So do you know the hamster dance?
No.
You don't remember the hamster dance? Oh, okay, this joke's fucking flopping.
Who's hamster?
The hamster dance is like, you know, and it's like it's that song. I never realized this. The hamster dance was like one of the first memes of all time. Like, I'm surprised you don't know what this is.
I mean, I might have just didn't know it was called the hamster dance.
Oh yeah, because it was like you would go onto this web, you would go on like it was like it was called hamsterdance.com or something. I don't know, but like,
oh yeah, it looks familiar.
But they literally, I didn't realize that they just took the rooster, the whistle of Robin Hood, and sped it up. My brain was blown the other day. So, yep, was expecting a little bit better of a reaction out of you. I thought you would know what that was. Oh my god, okay.
This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's mixtape.
Lame. Oh, that's from something actually.
Hi everybody.
Yo, what's up? How's everybody doing out there? I was waiting for a response, like I could hear somebody.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Okay, I gotta stop looking at this list, but that one right there.
Frisky Dingo?
Yeah.
I had shirts for, I bought T-shirts for that when I was a kid, when I was in high school.
That's the same like Archer, right?
Yeah, same art design. I don't know if it's the same director. No, it's Adam Reed. Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I think so.
No, Murder Face or not? Yeah, Kill Face.
Kill Face.
Kill Face. There's a video online of him he runs for president in the fucking show.
Yeah, I remember he pulls a whole like Lex Luthor.
Yeah, exactly. So like, and through the entire Trump administration, first running, all I could think of was this. Was Kill Face running for president? Just how ridiculous it was. Yeah. How you doing?
I'm good. Wasted my morning playing fucking Final Fantasy VII.
Well, I don't say that.
I just don't like it. I can't. I got 2 chapters in and I was like, ugh.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that another time.
Okay, but that's what I did today.
Today, we actually decided to do a little bit of a more focus on our banter episode. Since last week we did Cool World and we talked about Ralph Bakshi a little bit, we kind of wanted to because Tommy and I both love cartoons a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, like a lot. We grew up on them, obviously. We still watch them. We rewatch them. We recreate them in our head. Yeah, whatever. So we wanted to kind of venture down and look at the history of animation, specifically more in America, but more about adult animation as well. So
not to be confused with pornography.
Not to be confused with cartoon pornography. Cartoon pornography is a different topic. A completely different topic.
And we only find that funny is because if you go on the Wikipedia and adult animation, the very first thing it says is not to be confused.
Exactly.
So we're like, oh, maybe we should make that very clear off the get-go.
Yeah. And what's actually really cool, so we started our venture into adult animation through Wikipedia and then spawned from there through whatever articles and lists that they had, or whatever would spawn our interest into what we wanted to research more into. So the biggest thing of that first I wanted to do is this adult animation on Wikipedia. There's one that's it breaks everything into regions of the world between the Americas, Europe, Central Asia, East Asia, Southeast Asia, and Oceania. I don't know, Australia. It's the only one in there, so we'll just call it Australia. But really, we went more just obviously through the United States, but definitely anime in that's Eastern Asia, from Japan specifically. Anime is Japan. Big history with there as well of adult animation, but that's kind of its own separate topic. So we're not going to be really bringing up really anime in this.
No, but I think also naturally some things are.
So I mean, definitely when it gets into the 80s when anime became like was brought really more into the Western like civilization.
Well, yeah, and just also
Or
in Western
culture, I
civilization,
should
we're
say.
one of the like spearheads of
Adult animation.
adult animation.
Animation, I mean, in a big way as well.
Well, yeah, and it's just we on just per capita have more as a society, just have more, I guess, sitcom-y, like comedy shows that are animated.
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't want to just pigeonhole adult animation into just kind of like the sitcom-y.
No, I just mean on a popular.
Yeah,
because
like
a lot of really popular like Family Guy and shit.
Oh
and stuff like
yeah, but it's like because I really feel like a lot more. I feel like there's a lot like a lot of anime is a lot more adult or like young adult or like young adult to adult themed more than like most of what is like released in American animation.
I just never realized how much was was built on American cartoons. We have a very vast history of a nation that loves their cartoons.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, huh, interesting. When we were okay. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So really quick, just like off this wiki article of adult animation, to kind of like quick little description to give you guys an idea of like what is adult animation. Which, and from here on the second paragraph, it is typically defined as animation which skews toward adults. It is also described as something that formative youth should stay far, far, far away from, or has adult humor, or comes in various styles, but especially sitcoms or in comedies. That's what Tommy was kind of talking about at first. Going a little bit further back, works in this medium could be considered adult for any number of reasons, which include the incorporation of explicit or suggestive sexual content, graphic violence, profane language, dark humor, or other thematic elements inappropriate for children. So, works in this genre may explore philosophical, political, or social issues. So, really not like, roly-poly-oly. Although roly-poly-oly probably got pretty fucking serious at some points trying to teach those kids some lessons.
I haven't thought about that in a long time.
So what we really wanted to do is kind of like break this down through like a history a little bit more of like adult animation. It's kind of like more of the history of animation in a generalized sense for America, for the United States. So it's kind of like pre Hays Code animation, then Hays Code, like during like what the Hays Code kind of did to animation, and then post Code, rise of independent animation, the children's cartoons versus adult cartoons, rise of the 80s and 90s, moving into like modern day animation. So I mean, that's all, folks. Not really. So sorry. Did you do much research into like the pre Hays Code stuff?
Well, just kind of like in a general sense of that before the Hays Code was implemented, there were adult cartoons already. Yeah,
which animation at this time was generally more direct, was designed for adults. It was like quote unquote all ages, but it was only seen in the movie theaters. It was like before like a movie would be played, and it would be like some type of political cartoon, or just something a little like
like they would show like a news. Like a news, basically like a recorded news article, and then there'd be a cartoon, and then there'd be your movie kind of thing.
Yeah. And then so like they're like Betty Boop like really started with this. Popeye the Sailor Man.
Well, like I mean, even then too, Betty Boop is basically the iconic representation of what the Hays Code ended up doing.
Yeah.
She's like the perfect example of the transformation of when this was implemented.
So like there's a good amount of like Looney Tunes during this time, and then like Disney had a good amount of stuff. I think let's see. I think the Steamboat Willie. No, that was post Hays Code, wasn't it? Because that's the introduction to Mickey Mouse. Steamboat Willie, which is one of the earliest Disney cartoons, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, just because, like, so the Hays. Do you want to explain a little bit what the Hays Code actually is?
Yeah, let's just go into the Hays Code.
Also known as the Production Code Administration, and it's called the Hays Code because it was created and implemented by Will H. Hays. So Hays Code. Boom.
Where'd it go?
Drop some knowledge. Wait, the do's
I
and
got it
don'ts.
back over here. So yeah, I mean, on Wikipedia, there's actually a really nice. I mean, it's of like the don'ts and be carefuls of proposed in 1927. So this is like pretty much like it's what led into the Hays Code, and like the Hays Code is a very it's an actual like code of it's a
code of conduct.
Code of conduct, but it's a full like book that everybody had to memorize. But it can be kind of like consolidated into these like don'ts and like be carefuls of. So like the lists of like don'ts definitely were like pointed profanity by either title or lip. This includes the words God, Lord, Jesus, Christ, hell, son of a bitch, damn, God spelled differently than everything, any other profane or vulgar expression, however it may be spelled. Any licentious or suggestive nudity, in fact or in silhouette, or any lecturous or licentious notice thereof by other characters in the picture. This is so ridiculous. The illegal traffic of drugs, any inference of sex perversion. I don't want to say this next one, but
Yeah,
I know. White slavery. Not okay to show white slavery, but and then so I don't really know how to pronounce this word, but it's sex relations between white and black races. Yeah, so this was a very racist fucking thing. Sex hygiene or venereal diseases, scenes of actual childbirth, in fact or in silhouette, children's sex organs, ridicule of the clergy. Ugh.
That one, I'm like,
Yeah, right. Willful offense to any nation, race, or creed, which also that's kind of like super like hypocritical. If it's you can't like you have a list of racist things in here, but you
can't offend any nation, race, or wait, what?
Yeah. I think that was kind of like pointed like because there was also like war propaganda that I think they were trying to like move away from, not have like cartoons like there's a couple like very like that are banned Looney Tunes shorts where like
the Germans will come for your children at night, that kind of shit.
Kind of shit, yeah, like that. There was a couple of them where like the depiction of Hitler was just like in like he's like in an airplane dropping bombs on the United States, and Bugs is like fighting against like pulling pranks on him, and those are like erased from history pretty much.
Oh, that'd be awesome
to find those.
Bugs Bunny fighting Hitler.
There's videos, there's cartoons of it.
Just him like running around, trying to get him, and he's dropping, I don't know, doing Bugs Bunny shit.
And then, so going further, there's another larger list, which these are to like be special care exercised in the manner the following subjects are treated, to the end that vulgarity and suggestions may be eliminated and that good taste may be emphasized. So this is like the be carefuls of the use of the flag, international relations, arson.
Wait, before you keep going, I'm kind of like, especially with this willful offense to any other nation and international relations, do you also think it could have been partly so like a studio didn't piss off somebody in another country that they really shouldn't piss off, especially this coming out of World War I into World War II-esque era of high international tensions between various different parties? Because we have seen someone do some form of animation that has greatly offended other people in another country. So I'm just wondering, did they also do this to cover their asses so like you don't cause an international...
Yeah, probably. I mean, I would give that a hard yes.
Like, I'm not 100% sure, but it sounds kind of right.
Oh,
right?
yeah, totally.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it's like, yeah, tensions were high.
Yeah, like it was. This was a tense time.
Unless, yeah. Let's see. The use of firearms, theft, robbery, safe cracking, or dynamiting of trains, mines, buildings, etc. They had a lot because, like, in the early 1910s, 20s, there was a lot of like bank robbery and train robbery stuff and whatnot. So they were like trying to pull away from that.
Having in mind the effect which a too detailed description of these may have upon the moron, it follows with. Do the wording of this.
I feel like this should be actually put in modern day society.
Brutality and possible gruesomeness. So violence.
Yeah. And this is a pretty long list. I don't think we should go through this entire list.
Wait. Well, then fine. Let's see. But then real quick.
I mean, like third degree messes. There's like, what is it? Sedition.
The institution of marriage.
Oh, yeah, no, there's one that should be held like first night scenes, which is literally like what it means to have sex on your first night.
Your wedding night.
Yeah.
Oh, this one I thought was weird. 24. Titles or scenes having to do with law enforcement or law enforcing officers. Went,
No, I mean, a big thing of like this code was very much, it was designed to make a certain groups and of our culture put onto pedestals. You want to respect your law enforcement. You want to respect your government.
You want to respect the church.
You want to respect the church. It's literally, it's capitalism being forced into a code for people to just be brainwashed by. Mm-hmm. Because there's people that are realizing that if people see influence, like look at all this stuff. They're like, right here, having in mind the effect which a too detailed description of these may have upon the moron. Like they are aware that if people see certain ideas and things reflected in a media,
they might be inspired to reenact those ideas. I mean, that's why you have these like disclaimers in the beginning of like Jackass. And
exactly.
Wrestling. That's like, hey kids, didn't think we had to tell you this, but don't jump off your roof onto your brother.
Yeah, we're doing this for your entertainment. Don't do it for your own
entertainment.
Safety. Yeah. So yeah, Hays Code really had like a huge it changed just motion pictures, animation, like anything that was media related.
Yeah, it enforced strict censorship.
Yeah. And so like Looney Tunes, and so with that as well, like there started to be like a decline in theatrical releases at this time, because like the silent, like it was like slowly the age of television was going to start taking over. Mm-hmm. And a lot of animation at this time was strictly only for the theater. So then what ended up happening is a lot of these like shorts from like the 30s and the 20s and even kind of the 40s were now getting purchased by television broadcasts and then being shown syndicated on their networks. Mm-hmm. So like there was also this like short time of like not a lot of like animation really being made as much as well. A lot of it's just being rehashed and then being edited or censored or just not shown at all.
Yeah.
And again, during this time is that animation wasn't designed for children or just children. It wasn't designed for just adults. It was like supposed to be all ages, but everything around that time was more, I would say, generated for adults. Disney was releasing some of their first like actual full-length movies around this time, aren't they? Like, because Fantasia and Snow White came out in the 40s. See, as we were like doing, like we're coming up with like things that we want to ask each other.
So yeah, Fantasia 40s.
Yeah. Yeah, we've definitely we've been doing research on like history of this stuff, but we're coming up with questions of like, oh wait, where does this fit in as well?
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was made in 1937.
Oh, so
I didn't realize it was that old.
So it's older than Fantasia.
Yeah, but I mean, a few years, but yeah.
No, because I always thought Fantasia was the first full feature out of Walt Disney, but I guess it's
no. I mean, Snow White is the first one.
It is.
It is the known as the very first full animation Disney feature in theaters.
I had that backwards my entire life. I learned something today, guys. Look at that. My brain is growing.
Yeah, it's the first full-length traditionally animated feature film and the first Disney animated feature film.
Yeah.
So that was it's the first animated and the first Disney animated.
Oh, damn.
So
cool.
It's like a double whammy.
Way to hit that history. And also, like, I would also go out to say, like, that's not necessarily a kid's movie. Well, especially for its time, 1937.
Well, yeah, I mean,
the depiction of the witch, she's terrifying.
Well, because it's a Grimm's tale.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that, and I mean, a lot of them are in this day, like I guess in this day and age, but or like at least a adaptation of it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think that then they started really leaning into more, especially like in the 90s and stuff, more family friendly and taking out the scary aspects. Because you ever read Grimm's fairy tales?
Oh yeah,
they're terrifying.
Yeah,
they're like. Oh, I like that movie. Anyways, with Heath Ledger and
Grimm Brothers.
Yeah. Brothers Grimm.
Brothers Grimm.
But yeah, still Snow White had just the scene where she's lost in the forest and all the trees are coming alive and grabbing at her and you know attacking her. That was a pretty dark couple moments in that. Yeah. I mean, and she's trying to poison her. She's literally trying to murder her.
That's kind of interesting. I never really kind of thought about it because I think it probably wasn't until maybe the 70s or so when a lot of the Disney movies kind of started going a little bit more innocent-ish, more guided towards children's movies or it's for the family, but but kids are watching it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the first couple of movies I'm trying to think of with Snow White, Fantasia, Sleeping Beauty. What is also I can't. I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, because even then too. Because if you're
Cinderella is very much that's very lighthearted for
But then there's stuff like Bambi, which came out in 41.
Yeah, and Bambi. That's what I was trying to remember.
42.
Yeah. And that definitely that was just kind of I mean it's an all ages film, but that film also animation wise, they experimented with a lot of stuff on that.
Yeah, and also, but it's also it did have it had that very family-esque moments, but then it had Disney does in general has those heart-wrenching, horrible scenes.
When Bambi's mom gets killed by the hunter.
Yeah, where it kind of comes out of left field, but that's that whole thing. They make it. It's that that way of making things. You make something funny and then you put something sad in it.
Yeah.
By having laughs and being happy, your guard is down, so that moment's going to hit you so much harder.
The easiest way to get people to open up people's hearts is through laughter.
Yeah. And then you throw in Bambi's mom getting shot and you have a bunch of crying children in the audience.
But yeah, so we went down a Disney rabbit hole there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of hard to.
Yeah, I know. I was wondering where it was going to happen. Because there is through this entire time, there was really no rise of really independent artists. Walt Disney just kind of ran the animation world in America really at this time.
It was an empire.
Yeah, there was MGM. I think Hanna-Barbera didn't start until later with the 60s or 70s, I want to say, if I remember correctly. But it was Looney Tunes. Yeah, MGM,
so
WB.
MGM is Tom and Jerry and
yeah. Warner Brothers, MGM, and Disney. I think were kind of the three
top
big
dogs. Yeah. At that time. Yeah.
Yeah, because there was still Popeye getting released, and I think that was MGM. And there was also Lion. No, that was MGM.
There's a lion.
Yeah.
Remember, because the lion would come out, and then Tom it would turn into Tom. Yeah.
I'm sorry, remembering all of these sound effects from my childhood. So it's not really until through the 60s, going into the early 70s when really independent counterculture adult animation kind of makes a rise. And really every single one of these articles that I was reading through, Ralph Bakshi is just comes out the first guy, the one that pioneered this counterculture of American animated animation. And
just to reiterate, Ralph Bakshi was the director of Cool World.
Yeah, he was the director. Yeah. If you didn't listen into Cool World, Ralph Bakshi, directed that. Unfortunately, the movie was a flop, but he himself has a record of amazing animated movies
and notorious.
Yeah, so Fritz the Cat is kind of the first one of all of this.
Yeah, you're really pushing boundaries. Yeah,
and Fritz the Cat. Well, at first he wanted to do Heavy Traffic, which is the second one, and then little nugget of history with Fritz the Cat and Heavy Traffic. Those were in that time. He was the second director / producer ever to have two animated full feature films be huge successes back to back. Before that, it was only Walt Disney.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So Fritz the Cat, which is kind of it's about this college dropout co-ed cat. All of these animals, he creates animals anthropomorphic and whatnot, kind of a little bit Looney Tunes and whatnot.
Mm.
And Fritz the Cat essentially just, he's just a burnout and he's sleeping around being like a slutty cat. And then somehow he ends up like becoming like this revolutionary, like he leads this like group of people like standing up against racism by the end of it. Like it turns like, it starts off like kind of lewd and ridiculous and turns into a really strong political statement about what's happening in America at the time. And it was the first animated movie to ever be rated X.
Oh, yeah, I did read that.
Yeah. So, like, this movie, like, it has, like...
How graphic is it?
I mean, it's not like... It's... Imagine if Heavy Metal and Looney Tunes fused together in that sense. They're, like... It's, like, really, like, bubbly, kind of, like, rough... Like, early Looney Tunes, like, bubbly, rough-looking cartoons mixed with... Like, there being nudity and some strange amount of violence.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Listeners, can you follow that?
Is Heavy Metal still around?
Like the comic?
Yeah, like the magazine.
Oh, I don't know. I think so. I think they did some. I had my old roommate. He had a bunch of Heavy Metal comics.
Well, because like Heavy Metal, like granted, it's like it's a lot of nudity and stuff like that. Yeah. But every like.
But it also like explored like sci-fi themes and like fantasy
and always had
stuff.
different kind of artists. So it was always different animation for each comic to the next. It was just cool.
It was just adult animation that was exploring cool. Like it just told adult stories.
Yeah, and it was just cool to go through and find different artists. You're like, man, their style is really cool.
Yeah,
and that was always really rad. It's like an anthology for comic books where you can kind of get a different taste for everyone's kind of style.
So really, with this rise of independent animation, there really became this like kind of like this tie between like adult cartoons and then like what became the first block of the Saturday morning cartoons, like when Hanna-Barbera and Looney, like Hanna-Barbera starts to take the rise and they start creating like Scooby-Doo, and then all of their like remakes of Scooby-Doo
and then like Jetsons.
That's what. Yeah. So then they do the first ever animated sitcom, the Flintstones,
which was prime time, like 8 to 11, which was really rare for a cartoon to be in that slot, and it became like
a huge success.
Yeah, Flintstones was great.
Yeah, Flintstones. I
remember it. I remember liking it.
Yeah, I remember watching it when I was a kid.
And OG Scooby-Doo is awesome.
Oh yeah, no Scooby-Doo, it was just Scooby-Doo. Where Are You? That was the original one I wanted. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they had Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Gang, and then the Scooby-Doo with all the guests, like when Batman and Robin would be on Scooby-Doo. Like the old 60s Adam West Batman,
just like when they're running through the hallways and it's the same backdrop, just looping around.
Yep.
Yeah, like
there's a lot of animation tricks. Like even like you can watch if you watch Disney Jungle Book and Winnie the Pooh
is the same sequence.
It's the same sequence. They just kind of like did a different character design between Mowgli and Christopher Robin. And it's like the backdrop kind of like the log and everything is all the same.
Yeah, but it's like one's in the jungle, one's just like in
exactly
like the clearing of a forest kind of thing.
Could you imagine how much money they saved just reusing?
Yeah,
animation?
I was like, that's a pretty ingenious idea.
Yeah.
No one noticed it for years.
Yeah, exactly.
I do miss the era of cartoons where you could tell when something was going to move.
Oh yeah, when it was like clearly like
a different color,
like it different, just like stood out a little bit different. Yeah, that's kind of like, oh my god, in Willow, when I was talking about the CGI in Willow, it's like you can clearly tell that thing's standing out from like everything else in the background. Yeah,
it's not like blended in. Yeah, you're like, oh, that door's about to open. Oh, that wall's about to break open. Oh, that like.
So there became this rise, like because of Ralph Bakshi. List of movies I think we brought up last week with Cool World, like Wizards, Lord of the Rings. Do we want to talk about the really, really controversial one that made him step out of the controversial films?
I mean, yeah, it's his.
What was the name of it? I don't want to say the name.
I don't remember the second part of it.
It's like just one name, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's two words. This word and then what is it? What's the second one? I'll say it. I just don't want to fuck it up. What is it? What's the last one?
Hold on a second. I want to say the second word is land, but I don't know if that's correct.
Okay. Well,
hold on a second.
Let's give it a second.
Oh, it's Skin. Oh, that's even worse.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Skin?
Yeah.
Okay. So to preface this, as we were saying, Ralph Bakshi is the lead in animation about counterculture, and he ended up doing a movie that kind of pushed too far for many years and made him basically get pretty crucified, and then removed himself from doing controversial films, what is called Coonskin.
Yeah.
And it's a very racially charged, very adult animation about a group of, again, anamorphic animals. I think there's like Preacher Fox and
all of the, but yeah, the biggest thing is that so like right here actually I'm seeing in a thing on Wikipedia is like Bakshi intended to attack stereotypes by portraying them directly, pulling imagery from blackface iconography. So he attempted to make this statement against this whole thing that had happened in the history and that it currently would still be happening in America. And it turned into a lot of people looking at it as him taking it as more exploitative and really being part of the problem as opposed to part of the solution.
And again, we've never seen it, so I can't really have any kind of an opinion about it.
Yeah.
But it's basically these three characters go to Harlem to stop crime, basically. Is the gist of it. And so he did this very controversial film, and again, like I said, backfired. So then he kind of moved away from
so he started moving away from doing any kind of controversial stuff, but still doing adult animation. Like his style is very much it looks more mature than what you would see in like a Disney film. It's just a little more rough around the edges, I guess. Is the best way to put it.
It looks like pretty rough.
Yeah. So like Wizards, like I already just said.
Wizards looks rough. They all look kind of rough.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. Like Wizards, okay. The Lord of the Rings. What was the Heavy Pop? That 80s one?
Heavy Traffic?
No, not Heavy Traffic. American Pop.
And then Heavy Traffic.
Yeah.
I really need to watch American Pop again.
So you have all of this happening with Ralph Bakshi, and then you have the rise of Hanna-Barbera, Scooby-Doo.
Very family friendly.
Yeah. And then like the Smurfs come out, and then which spawns its own thing. And then you have in your late 80s the rise of what we, as Tommy and I, grew up more with.
Very cartoon, kid cartoon.
Very, very kid cartoon. So it's all this entire history of cartoons literally designed because of like a toy line. The toy line came out, and then there was a TV show for it. It's like He-Man, Thundercats, Transformers.
Thundercats was cool.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, technically a comic book first, and then a toy line, and then a TV show.
Yeah. What's the bad guy's name? Not Shredder. The Brain.
Crane.
Crane, is that his name?
Crane. Yeah.
I remember hating that fucker.
In the weird robot body thing?
Yeah, it just it weirdly makes me think of Nixon from Futurama. Come with me, headless body of Agnew. Just being like dragged around. That's what it makes me think of.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's my favorite character in Futurama.
Oh, Nixon?
I fucking love him. He's
I can get that.
Nixon's back. He's like totally out of his mind. Anyways.
So yeah, we got. So that's and then during like kind of this time we get probably like what is the beginning of our modern adult animation from Matt Groening, The Simpsons, which came out in 1987. Yes.
I'm gonna lean on you for Simpsons because I never really got into it.
I watched a lot of it when I was younger. My mom didn't want me to watch it. She recognized that it was a little bit more adult, but it still had a good amount of like. It was very topical.
That's the only reason it lived as long as it did.
Yeah,
it's great writing, obviously, but they kept it so topical that you had so much new information.
Exactly.
That you could
it's
banter
really,
off of.
I would really say because of like The Simpsons and how it stayed so topical with satirization of American culture that it raised
predicting the future.
It raised an entire generation of people on wanting seeing satire as the highest form of comedy in a weird way, you know, and only wanting that. So like I mean, because like, even SNL did a lot of like satirization and whatnot. So Matt Groening's part of that kind of generation. But then for like animation, like almost all adult animation is just satirization, like Family Guy, American Dad, the Cleveland Show, all Seth MacFarlane shows, Futurama, Matt Groening, you know, satirization. Rick and Morty, subversive satirization, but
still,
yeah, you know.
Yeah, like it's definitely like it's you wouldn't if it wasn't for Simpsons that paved the way, these shows wouldn't exist.
Yeah,
well, something might, but it wouldn't be the same.
Even like to go even farther back, like, fucking Ralph Bakshi doesn't fucking make Fritz the Cat and start this entire independent revolution of animation.
Or I guess even going, well, no, I guess, oh yeah, I was gonna say at the same, shortly after Simpsons, then you had stuff like Ren and Stimpy that kind of leads into that Bakshi of like really.
Yeah. Well, even just
controversial,
like, even just kind of like the whole like cartoons, the Oh Yeah cartoons stuff of like Cartoon Network, and like Ren and Stimpy, Rocko's Modern Life, like the early '90s Nickelodeon, you know.
Oh yeah, so you had all these like kid shows, and you had Simpsons coming in to kind of change it, and then a decade later you have the '90s, which. Holy hell, that is quite
The Simpsons and like Rugrats and Ren and Stimpy, they're within 5 years of each other being released.
Oh no, but I just mean like just what came out in the 90s was there's some weird rad cartoons that came out in the 90s. Like I think that's probably one of the best experimental ages for animation.
And one of the definitely, which again like influenced a lot of people our age and like our like idea of comedy.
Yeah.
You know, we're all just crazy, zany people. We're Animaniacs.
Yeah, like I remember my... Oh, fuck. We totally forgot about that. That was another satire topical show.
Oh, Animaniacs, yeah.
Yeah, totally forgot about that.
All WB as well.
But...
Well, I mean, even Looney Tunes was set, like, very topical, throughout most of its time.
Yeah, that's true.
Bugs Bunny was very topical.
But like, yeah, it's just like going back to even like Ren and Stimpy. Like, I think that was a cartoon my dad and I would sneak watch because I don't think my mom wanted me watching it. This is maybe I'm making this. I think you told me this, and that's just how I remember it. I don't know if that's actually the case, but then as an adult watching Ren and Stimpy, I'm like, oh, totally get it. Ren and Stimpy was
really weird,
something.
So I mean, within all of this, it's kind of like, and now we have like this entire history of like. Animation that's like adult animation but then not adult animation because like I feel like Looney Tunes started off like more like it was more topical. It was for all ages, quote unquote, but it definitely was for more adults. And like,
well, because also in this era too, you had that it was for kids and then they purposely put jokes that would go over their heads that their parents would get.
I mean, that's especially what happened in the 90s.
To make it so that way you could sit there. Like my dad and I used to watch SpongeBob all the time. And then, especially the early seasons, there's a lot of like inside jokes.
Well, that's also one of the things that makes Shrek such a great animated movie.
Yeah, Shrek is,
like it literally, it's a fairy tale. It's got all of the elements for like a kid's fun fairy tale story with weirdly crude like innuendo and humor in it that as a kid you're just like, oh, that's just funny saying or whatever, and as an adult you're like, they're totally talking about his penis.
Well, even as like a kid too, your parents laugh, so you laugh.
Exactly,
kind of thing. Like it's your own little studio audience. You're like, oh, they're laughing.
Your own little studio audience.
Like it's like, oh, that's funny. Okay, funny.
I think that's funny too.
Yeah.
Why do you think that's funny, honey? Because you liked it.
Yeah, I don't know.
So now we're moving into with the modern day like animation. Really, I mean, we're like Rick and Morty is like the juggernaut of it. Really, like Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon.
I think that if you were to jump back just a little bit, especially if you're thinking about Rick and Morty, I definitely think Venture Brothers is something that needs to be.
Oh, dude, the entire Adult Swim block.
Yeah.
Aqua Teen Hunger Force. I was thinking about moving into the disclaimer thing though, really quick.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because that's where I was leaning and talking about Looney Tunes and like all of this we had all of this entire like history of animation that had topical quote unquote like stereotypes or situations on it, to where a lot of like, especially in Disney. I mean, Disney's now releasing this disclaimer before like Aristocats, Dumbo, like this is all on Disney Plus.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to.
Yeah, I mean a multitude of them, and then but this was a disclaimer that was people have been talking about it kind of today, but like, oh, I can't believe they're saying this for Disney stuff and whatnot. It's like, and this is disclaimer started in 2005, like 16 years ago, through the release of the Looney Tunes Volume 3. And it was actually in that DVD was actually recorded by and read by Whoopi Goldberg, and then afterwards was just a blank title thing before all of the Looney Tunes. And the disclaimer reads as follows: the cartoons you are about to see are products of their time. They may depict some of the ethnic and racial prejudices that were commonplace in the U.S. society. These depictions were wrong then, and they are wrong today. While the following does not represent the Warner Brothers' view of today's society, these cartoons are being presented as they were originally created, because to do otherwise would be the same as claiming that these prejudices did not or never existed. So, I don't know. I think that's actually a really smart thing to do, like to have that disclaimer. So, like, if kids kids aren't like watching something like thinking that this like racial stereotype that they're seeing is like something that is funny. It's like you like sit down, like you as the adult can decide to watch that with your child or not have your child see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
especially because being children, they are very impressionable and they need to understand. And it really does go, and it goes into any kind of disclaimer. Even like we just made the joke about the WWE thing. It's like, oh yeah, kids are stupid. Yeah, they're gonna do things.
I wouldn't say that kids are stupid. Kids are impressionable. And like that's the thing is like
fine, they're impressionable.
Well, I guess I want to make a kind of serious statement here. Oh. All right, I don't know if it'll be. I'm now laughing at myself for saying that I want to make a serious statement.
Okay, Jacob.
So like kids are impressionable. The idea of culture is taught. So the whole like a racist culture is taught through media, through people not educating their children about what is right or wrong in these situations. So like if there's no supervision for how impressionable a child is, and they're filled with the specific kind of media, that media is going to be what they believe in. So if they just watch nothing but racist media, they're going to become racist. Yeah. If they're like, so yeah, I mean, like, it is amusing, like that whole statement, like, because for the motion production code where it's like, don't let people watch this shit, they're impressionable and they're morons. It's like, if really, when it comes down to children, they are super impressionable and they need to be supervised on what they're watching. They shouldn't just like, I mean, I feel like even though like we watched a lot of things that we shouldn't have watched as children, our parents supervised us with it, and our parents were there to talk to us about it. And
and also especially in this day and age with internet and streaming and the amount of content your children can get that you have no control over. Like, even let's just say it's, you have a parental lock on your TV, but you forgot to do one on an iPad, and they know how to get on it. Now suddenly, like, I was just even like listening to another podcast recently, and long story short, he realized that his daughter figured out how to use his credit card on Fortnite.
Oh, fuck.
And she's like 7, and she came up and had a note saying, "I just bought my way to level 73." And he was like, and he was in the middle of recording on Zoom, and he was like, and then everyone was like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "Give me 1 second." And he like, and apparently she bought like $20 worth of whatever the hell you use on Fortnite. I don't know. So he was like, it wasn't the biggest deal, but I immediately put a child lock on there because I just forgot about it. Like, I just didn't think of it. But just like, what did you do?
How much money does that cost
on Fortnite? But yeah, so it's like it's good to put a disclaimer, but at the end of the day, it falls to the parents to explain the situation. Yeah. And the context of whatever content they're ingesting. Yeah.
So within that, you want to go through a little bit of that list of that modern day adult animation that we found on IGN, or do you have another stuff? Because like what you said is like I kind of glossed over the Adult Swim growth.
Well, because even just with Adult Swim too, you had that really cool era where
they brought anime to us.
Yeah, it's like they had
they brought anime to us.
No, it's like that. But, no, but real quick, that's what I meant about like anime's gonna come up, because it was like there were definitely shows that were not technically considered anime, but they're totally Boondocks.
That's not anime though.
Yeah, but it has the
it's in anime influenced.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It has this like vibe to it. Even Avatar: The Last Airbender had this like vibe to it.
Very anime influenced. Yeah.
But even like with Adult Swim, you had Space Ghost Coast to Coast. And Harvey Birdman,
attorney at law.
Hey.
Harvey Birdman, attorney at law.
Hey, you get that thing I sent you? But yeah, and also that really jumped back into this kind of older style of animation that was also very satirical, but they did a really good job of like even like
oh yeah,
the Jetsons coming into Harvey Birdman's office, and it's like we're from the year 2020. We have flying cars, and Harvey's like confused, and he's looking at his calendar. It's like 2019. He's like, he's like, I don't understand. You know, like they like really leaned into these old comics and putting them in a modern sense.
Oh yeah, like the whole it was specifically Hanna-Barbera cartoons. That was all Hanna-Barbera. Yeah.
Because even Venture Bros is technically a sequel of Johnny Quest.
Yes, loosely, because they bring it into the Johnny Quest world with Johnny Quest being a part of it.
Well, like what's Brock's trainer is Benson or Brenson?
Yeah,
whatever the
security
guard.
Yeah, I can't remember the security guard.
There's a B.
Yeah, I think you're right with Benson. Johnny Quest also racist cartoon. A
lot of these are going to be.
Yeah, I know.
It's like
disclaimer.
And that's the thing too. That's kind of crazy about it. It's like I remember really enjoying Johnny Quest. I was 7 last time I ever watched it, so I have no idea
like
what it is.
Yeah,
I just remember. Oh, cool! They went on these crazy adventures and they fought robots and they went in submarines and That was
it was 1920s pulp adventure
comic,
stuff.
Yeah. So it's like that's what I think about it. But I'm sure if I go back, I'm gonna be like, whoa, holy hell,
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, and then Family Guy being brought on Adult Swim, like because even
Toonami, we got like that. We got that too.
Well, I mean that's Toonami was more directed at anime though.
And I think teenagers.
Yes, because like the Toonami block on that was like 5 to 7 on Cartoon Network, where you got Dragon Ball Z,
Batman animated series was 7:00 every night.
Yep,
I remember that.
That wasn't part of the Toonami block though. That was the post.
Oh, that was Warner Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So the Toonami block most popularly did Dragon Ball Z, Rurouni Kenshin, Yu Yu Hakusho, Sailor Moon, Inuyasha eventually. When Inuyasha started airing, I kind of stopped pulling away from a little bit. Gundam.
Well, they actually the way they did it too, which I thought was a really cool idea, is that they had Toonami and Adult Swim, and the way they did their lineup was the later it got, the more it started to lean into Adult Swim.
Yeah.
So the later animes were it was aged. Yeah. So it was like Dragon Ball Z ages 12 to whatever.
Well, that's later on too. I'm talking about way early on, like early 2000s.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying they had these specific shows and it was like a timeline. The later it got, the more adult they got, till finally the screen went black and went ding, and then it was Adult Swim, and then it went to Family Guy. And
do you remember?
It was just it was a good setup.
Do you remember before it was the black screen when there was home movies and whatnot on Adult Swim, and it was literally it was just old people swimming in a pool.
Yeah, shit like that.
Yeah,
like weird surreal.
Yeah, that was when it was Space Ghost, home movies,
home video.
No, home movies.
I thought it was home video.
Oh, home movies.
No? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that was a good show.
Brendan Small. Yeah, with Coach McCormick.
Brendan, look at this tattoo of this cow. Don't be like me, Brendan. I have a tattoo of a cow on my chest. Don't be like me. Because that was John H. Benjamin, right?
Yeah. H. John Ben. Yeah. Yeah, whatever.
I always fuck up his name.
Yeah. Because then, really, Fox, because of The Simpsons, they got King of the Hill. That's an adult animation if I've never,
Yeah.
Well, Beavis and Butthead, fuck, dude. I'm listing half of that IGN list right now.
Okay, let's jump to that then. God damn it, Bobby. But yeah, so Jacob went and found a list on IGN.com, the 25 best adult cartoon TV series written by Matt Fowler.
It's kind of it's just a quick little list, and I don't know, I think it'd just be fun for us to kind of well,
because a bunch of them
down it. Yeah, we've already got because Aqua Teen Hunger Force,
hate that show.
Yeah, Daria, The Boondocks,
love Daria.
The Tick, which The Tick was airing on Saturday morning cartoons for kids.
Oh, that's. Ooh, that one's kind of pushing it a little bit.
The Tick?
Yeah.
Dude, and they have the Ren and Stimpy show as well, which I want to, especially there is a big controversy with the creator of Ren and Stimpy and how he groomed young female artists to take advantage of them.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah. So weary with Ren and Stimpy. like.
Well, I also remember the problem too. A lot of it was very violent.
It is very violent. It is very weird. But the creator of Ren and Stimpy, I mean, clearly the creator of Ren and Stimpy, from seeing what Ren and Stimpy is kind of a fucking out there guy.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if they. I mean, I'm gonna believe the women, but I'm not sure if he actually had been convicted or anything. But he groomed young female animators to do stuff for him. Anywho, Samurai Jack. Transition hard. Gravity Falls is on here. Avatar: Last Airbender. What? That's really weird. 18. Like number 17 is just the.
Well, let's see. Yeah, so there's something wrong with this. So it says the blank puns, political humor, self-deprecation, meta moments, quite a leap from animated variety show from the early Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Is it just Rocky and Bullwinkle?
I guess so. Yeah, it's Rocky and Bullwinkle is number 17.
Huh, interesting. Okay.
That was a cool era too. Rocky Bullwinkle and like Dudley Do Right.
Oh yeah. Beavis and Butthead. I mean, Mike Judge. Who did Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill? I mean, he's that counterculture like independent rise artist. Also doing a fucking Office Space and shit like that. He's brilliant. Adventure Time, which strangely started out clearly just as a kid show and then turned into what it is.
Yeah, I mean, Indigo swears by. I never actually sat through it, but Indigo swears by it. Like, I remember her liking it.
Let's see, SpongeBob, King of the Hill, Venture Brothers, which.
Oh, and Indigo, real quick, they're making a fucking SpongeBob spinoff.
Oh man,
starring Patrick and his like family, and I'm very upset about that.
Archer, Robot Chicken. Yeah, I mean, we could just. I mean, this list is fucking huge. I don't know why and Simpsons is number 1, which makes sense. I mean, I feel like it's The Simpsons is going to be regarded as one of the most.
Oh, number 2 is Rick and Morty.
Yeah, is the most. The Simpsons will be the most influential animated show from our generation and generation, like the previous generations for generations. Yeah.
It's like, can you actually imagine a world where Simpsons is not around?
No, because I'm the same age. We're the same age.
Yeah, they were around before I was born. You know what I mean? It's like
it's the same thing as like SNL. I mean, SNL's been around since the 70s.
Yeah. I don't care about SNL.
Yeah, well, I like SNL.
No, yeah. I like watching like compilations of like the best skits.
So you like SNL,
but I don't like. I'm not gonna sit there and watch it religiously.
Well, I do.
Well, great for you.
We're getting kind of late on this topic, and we still have one other topic we want to talk about. So, do you have any other final thoughts on?
That's the thing. We didn't really do like a final.
Well, I have a little bit of a final thing to just kind of like let people go to our website and like talk. I got a couple of things. Okay. But I just want to know I didn't know if you had anything more.
No, I guess not. I mean, because it's just. No.
I mean, so
I don't know how to like segue into it. So I'm good.
That's good. So I mean, the big thing is like I wanted to kind of look at the history of all of this, and then like what is like for today's modern like independent animation. Because, I mean, right now, of us talking about the end of this for adult animation, we're bringing up, like, the big names, Rick and Morty, The Simpsons, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, that's still independent. Archer, stuff like that. There is this website that I found that kind of gave me a little bit of more information about just, like, animation world for today, like the modern day stuff. And it's AWN.com, Animation World Network. And they have blogs, they have news about animations that are coming out around the world. Just like information about like workshops that, like artists.
Oh, this is cool.
Artists that write, write articles for like what they've been doing. It's a really cool, awesome website that I would recommend. We'll put it on the website, on our website and in our blog to kind of give it a promote. And then I also found another one, which is it's an online zine. What it looks like, it's that adult animation white paper, and they already have one edition out. So it's called. You can go to highconcentrate.com, and you can like fill out to like get a download of the PDF, and it's just pretty much like information about independent adult animation and where it's going. Oh, we didn't really bring up like Love, Robots, and.
Well, that's because I was like, there's also this whole world of like feature films that are of adult animation now. Oh, and also real quick on the website you just mentioned, they actually have a job search engine which I was like, oh, so if you're looking to get in that industry, there's a lot of jobs in Seattle right now. I just looked it up.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, this is a topic that we could go on and on and on about. But yeah, we just wanted to bring up a short little bit about it from our interest. Our interest was spiked last week watching Cool World and talking about Ralph Bakshi.
And yeah, and like we said on the Cool World one too, this month we're kind of doing animation in general. So we're doing another animated film next time. So we're just kind of trying to chit chat about it. I mean, actually, we could just do that. We could talk about
what we're going to be doing next week.
Well, no, we could on our next side we could talk about full length feature as opposed to show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
So yeah, we have our second topic, which I mean, it's kind of like the most. It just happened, so we kind of it's fresh in our minds. Going to talk about the end of WandaVision.
So if you haven't finished it, thank you very much for listening because we're going to talk. This is the season finale.
Yep. So
we're going to
the series finale. Actually,
the series finale. So
which I don't know why everybody's getting so upset about that, or doesn't understand what's happening.
With the miniseries thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is Tommy and Jacob. Thank you for listening. We're now going to spoil some WandaVision. So see you later if you don't want to hear it.
WandaVision! I just blew Tommy's eardrums off. And probably your guys' too.
Jesus. Yeah. So
I am Vision.
Hated it.
You didn't like it?
Didn't like it.
I didn't hate it.
Okay, fine. I didn't hate it. I didn't like it.
I was expecting something. I was expecting something more than it truly just being about Wanda overcoming her grief. I thought there was going to be something bigger with it. And then as she has her that final moment with Vision, I was like, oh, this is what this has been all about. And I was like, oh, okay. And that scene did move me actually. I
was like, oh man, she's seen her husband die like 3 times.
Yeah,
like a lot.
Especially and also that it's like we've said goodbye before. We'll say hello again. I was like, okay, yeah, they will. But also dude, again, Elizabeth Olsen fucking killing it as an actress.
Oh yeah, what's her name?
Catherine Hahn.
Yeah, Catherine Hahn. Is that her name?
Mm-hmm. The actress that played Agatha Harkness, the other witch.
Yeah. No. I know. I was trying to. Never mind. Love her.
Yeah, she's great,
and she actually did bad guy pretty good, which I was like when it was introduced, I was like, oh,
I've only seen her really in comedic roles. Really,
yeah, she's funny.
Yeah,
she's funny. I have a huge crush on her.
Oh, she's gorgeous.
Oh, yeah, I have a huge crush on her.
She's quirky and weird.
Yeah, I love her.
Yeah.
I absolutely love her. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was just like I think I don't know. I actually don't even know what the seal. I didn't like the whole white Vision thing.
Well, I mean that is the thing that happens.
I know. But it just had that fucking Data feel to it.
I mean, Vision had that Data feel when he
but when Data dies in Nemesis.
Oh,
but he has a brother, and he's going to be taught by Captain Picard.
I forgot
to
about
be
that.
his new best friend. It was just like what I kind of wish they had done was. I did like when they were fighting and he beats him with logic. Like, you're trying to kill Vision. I'm not technically Vision. And then he's like, elaborate. What I just kind of wish they did was...
Technically, neither of us are. Actually, no, that was a great parallel. Sorry.
Yeah. But I was just like, kind of what I wish... I kind of wish they kept it a little bit to the imagination, not full on show, maybe not until later. Like, have Vision conclude this, but kind of keep it a mystery to us. And then have the grand reveal, like basically, like Vision just tells like Wanda, "I took care of it." like
wait, which Vision though? Like
the purple Vision.
Okay.
The mind Vision.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
But basically, just because
I like that the mind Vision. Yeah, that's really what he was.
Yeah, the mind Vision. I kind of wish that it had done that whole elaborate thing, and then it clearly depicts that they had some kind of conversation and privy their conversation. Vision, white Vision, hate that he's called that.
Well, in the comics he had a different name, but they were totally taking this like White Vision into a different direction.
Yeah,
because he is really he's just a synthetic robot.
Yeah, and also, would it be safe to assume that this Vision, this White Vision, is not as powerful because he is not made from one of the Infinity Stones?
Yes,
right. He's not as powerful.
Well, it depends how. Who knows what the technology Sword has because they have scroll technology.
Oh yeah, true. I don't know.
Silence. But so I think I kind of see what you're saying, but I guess what you're saying is just like, I don't know, but if they do that, then it's going to throw off the entire momentum of Wanda saying goodbye to Vision and truly saying goodbye to Vision. You know what I mean?
But that's what I'm saying, though. I'm like, if they hadn't shown that there's basically now this other Vision running around.
But we don't know if that's going to be the same Vision.
Well, he has his memories. In a certain sense, it's going to be an extension of Vision.
Yeah, but Vision being the logical creation that he is, or it is going to have a constant conflict of like, well, if I'm like, I'm just a recreation of it, so in my own being.
I guess so. Like, I remember having feelings for Wanda, but they're not my feelings. They are this previous being's feelings. Yeah,
and that's also a thing. Like Vision,
true.
like in the comics, Vision never forgives her for using him like this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we don't know where that's gonna go.
Yeah.
But
but then that whole Quicksilver thing that he was actually under
mind control. Oh my god, that was
just some guy that kind of looked like the X-Men Quicksilver. I don't know. That was like okay.
I like this with his last name, Boner. I don't know. Ralph Boner.
Oh, and I do have one thing that I really need them to not do anymore. Do not do post-credit scenes on a fucking half an hour long goddamn episode of a show. You didn't
like those 3 post-credit scenes?
No.
The post-credit scene, the post-post-credit scene, the post-post-credit scene.
On like a 40-minute long fucking episode. I'm like, what are you doing? Because even then, so I put on the season finale, and they did the previously on, and I went, that didn't happen. And then I went back and I looked, and I saw that there was like this huge chunk of bar left on the resume watching bar, and I went, what? No fucking way.
I have literally learned like before, like when the credits hit, I'll fast forward to the credits to see if there's something.
I do with the movie. I didn't expect it in a city. I'm like, am I missing a lot of scenes? Do they all have one? I looked on the first one. It didn't.
No, it starts. I want to say episode 7 or 6.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh. I was like, that is the dumbest thing I could. Just put it in the episode and let me get on with my life. I don't want to be sitting here through the whatever.
You don't have to sit through the credits. You just fast forward through them.
I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't goddamn have to. Anyways, that was like my biggest. I was like, that is.
You get it out? Did you feel better?
Yeah, I was like, that is the dumbest thing I have ever heard in my entire life.
So ultimately, it's like I don't know. They did a really good job with Agatha. I completely was convinced that Mephisto was going to come up at some point, but
I thought maybe Quicksilver for a second was
that was
him in disguise. Also, because he was like, "Well, when the wifey's out causing trouble," I thought that.
Did you catch the? I caught this on a reread on an article. Agatha brings up her husband Ralphie, who's too busy doing other stuff all the time, and then the actor's name is Ralph Boner. So she's taken over Ralph's house.
Oh,
and Ralph.
Right. Oh no, I didn't catch that. Yeah, Ralph was. That's why he was never around.
And that's why she controlled him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't catch that.
So then she was able to just pretty much utilize him as Quicksilver and do a mind trick on that whole thing. That whole part. What frustrates me about that is that they casted Evan Peters for it,
and it's not at all Quicksilver whatsoever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like you just like Evan Peters he's such a good actor, and if you wanted to bring him in the MCU as anybody else other than Quicksilver, you had that opportunity. He would have been a fantastic Mephisto. But now it's like, I don't know. I mean, they'll find somebody else that's going to probably be fantastic as well, but he would have been a fantastic Mephisto. Imagine him as like the fucking devil, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, especially after a hotel, too.
Everything he's done in fucking American Horror Story.
Yeah.
He would have been great.
Yeah.
But no, it's like in a weird storyline sense, I get why they did that. And I don't know, I just felt like it was like a fan service that didn't really...
Yeah, but like at that point, if you're going to do this kind of wash of a character anyways, it's magic. You can make it like... You could have brought back the original Quicksilver,
but I don't think the actor wanted to agree to it. I don't think the actor wanted to do it.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, it was such a short little bit that he was in it, and give him enough money, you might be able to convince him.
Yeah, or they could have just like done anybody else than the other guy that played the character.
Yeah, the other. Because now it's like, how are you going to now bring that Silver into this? Like, when are we going to finally have this melding of the X-Men and the Avengers?
From everything that I've been reading, I don't think that. They're going to do their own mutant world, their own mutant universe.
Like you were saying the other day, it's like Avengers mutants don't exist, and mutants Avengers don't exist.
Yeah.
Like they're completely parallel. Which in all honesty, I kind of like that because that sounds like a lot. There's a lot going on.
Dude, yeah.
Between aliens and metahumans and then mutants and other aliens and... like, there's a lot happening.
But how did they keep track of this in the comic books?
Yeah, it's like
they really didn't.
They didn't actually. Not at all. And I did like that, like Bruce Banner, Incredible Hulk kind of scene. I didn't get it, but she's sitting there drinking coffee in this cabin in the middle of nowhere. Very Bruce Banner.
Oh, when she was astral projecting.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
I didn't. I think that's. I don't know. I think that's setting up for Doctor Strange.
So she just really wanted to have her like coffee.
We watched a 9-episode long trailer for Doctor Strange, I feel sometimes.
But it's like she wanted to have her coffee and sit on the porch, but she also wanted to read the spell book. I don't know. I was like,
I think that was just like the projection of her out there was kind of more of like she's not doing anything, quote unquote. It's like the mask.
Oh, to maybe if like Shield still. I mean, Sword is still watching her or whatever. Yeah. Like she's like, I'm living
a peaceful life.
Yeah, I'm like also that too. I'm like, they wouldn't just let you walk away from that. They would probably try and.
Also, how much of that entire like area that's so perfect and pretty looking is just a creation of her own, like her creating the reality around it?
Yeah, I mean,
like did she create another hex just in a little spot where she can't actually hurt anybody?
I mean, you're even assuming that she's on Earth.
That's true too. Yeah,
with her powers now, like at full potential, she could be on the moon for all we know. She could be pulling a Dr. Manhattan and on Mars. You know,
dude. Oh my God, female Dr. Manhattan. Yeah.
I always hate those costume changes shit though.
What do you mean?
Oh, she's absorbing the power, and then suddenly I was like,
I actually was really impressed by her costume though. They did a really good job with the Scarlet Witch costume.
No, the costume looks good, but I don't the costume, the superhero costume change
how
thing.
It just gets created through the magic or whatever.
Yeah, I'm always just like,
well, that doesn't happen very often.
Or it's like, Batman, George Clooney, we're getting to the final fight. We need to get the silver bat suit. Like, no, you didn't.
That's just Joel Schumacher ruining an entire franchise.
But it's always the superhero thing, the costume. I'm like, I don't know. It always just kind of takes me out. Because even then, like, even in Batman,
unless there's like a reasonable like reason why they're like in Spider-Man Far Away From Home, like remember like it's like he needs to create a new suit to fight Mysterio.
Yeah, or like in the Batman Begins versus Batman
Dark Knight. How he's like
he can't move his head.
Yeah,
and it's like, and that was actually a problem just at the time with how they were able to make the costume. He couldn't turn his head. He had to move.
Like, how do you fight like martial arts and like taekwondo?
It was like literally your neck and your your body and your head are like one entity. I was like, that's kind of funny because I was just that's just what they could do at the time.
Yeah, and
they're like, oh, actually, we can make a better costume, but we got to explain why it looks so different. Oh, because I want to be able to pull out of the driveway. You know, like I was like, I like they kind of owned it. Yeah, you know, like I thought it was funny.
Leaned into the joke for it. Yeah. Let's see. They've set up something with Scarlet Witch. Oh, yeah, I also wanted to point out, like, I really that was a really good scene when all of the people, when Agatha like released everybody from Wanda's mind control, and them like her not realizing what she had been doing to these people. You know, like
not realize that they were basically trapped in prisons in their own mind, screaming out for help.
In prisons of her own, in their own minds, and then in her own mind.
Yeah, like sharing nightmares and shit.
Yeah, like that's terrifying. And you know, Chris was saying that he thinks that they're gonna that they're moving towards having Wanda just be like one of the next big like MCU villains, actually, which I can kind of see.
I was kind of getting a Dark Phoenix vibe.
I kind of get that a little bit, but like,
or a Hellboy. Like,
well, I mean, she does like go on and off from like, it's not like she's like an Ultron mega supervillain.
No, but like a Hellboy. Or, yeah, like Hellboy, where he is destined to do this, and it's kind of out of his control in a weird way, but he's fighting it all the time to not become the world ender, you know?
Mm-hmm. So, we'll see, but I really think it's going to be more Scarlet Witch and unless Scarlet Witch is kind of like almost a bad guy in the new Doctor Strange movie.
What's that one woman's character name? Like...
Monica?
Is that her name?
Rambo, the black girl.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Monica.
Mm-hmm.
I know she's an Avenger, but who is she?
She actually, I read in the encyclopedia you gave me. She actually went by multiple different names. She went by I want to say went by Captain Marvel for a minute.
I mean, her powers seem pretty similar.
Yeah, they are. But then Pulse is another name they went by, and Spectrum is another name that they went by.
I like Pulse.
Because like they have a thing where they can see energy, and they can absorb the energy.
I like Pulse. That's cool, especially for her powers.
Yeah, and also like that they set up like she's going up to the fucking sword station to talk to Fury.
Mm-hmm.
So I will have to do a little bit more reading in this, but like Marvel has like 12 new miniseries like this.
The only problem I can see with that being is that if they start doing all these like crossovers and everything, they're gonna do another movie at some point, right? Like maybe a full length like ensemble.
I mean, Spider-Man comes out in February or in December.
The problem is now is that if you're going to, are you gonna have to watch these miniseries to understand the movies? Because that's a lot of content.
Maybe. I mean,
it's already a lot with the movies that are already out, and now you're gonna add miniseries crossovers.
Yeah, but do you feel like I feel like a lot of the movies, maybe minus some of the Avenger movies, they kind of. They hold up as a movie of their own.
Like you don't need to watch certain ones.
Like Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame 100% are hand in hand. Like you can watch Endgame and get it without any information from Infinity War.
Yeah, well, also because there's all the time travel and everything that kind of explains itself.
Yeah, but like you can watch Infinity War before watching any of the other movies, and you get it. Mm-hmm. You can watch obviously Doctor Strange.
You can watch Age of Ultron.
You can watch Thor Ragnarok. And kind of, I think. I don't know. It's just I guess it's starting to get so much.
It's just a lot of content, and I'm saying like, and that's like fine because all these movies are like 2 to 3 hours long. Cool, but with these miniseries, if you're gonna watch, it's a 9-hour movie basically.
Yeah, but if you're going to the comics then as well, if you just buy like a random comic, like volume. Are you gonna like be able to just pick up from there? Like, no.
Then I guess Then I agree with you. It really just depends on which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like you can watch Ant-Man without seeing any other Avenger Marvel movie, and you're totally fine.
And you can watch Ant-Man and the Wasp as well.
Yeah,
like kind of because then he's in house arrest. I guess they kind of explain
those kind of but those I feel like maybe you would want to watch the first and then the second.
Mm-hmm.
But like Ragnarok stands on its own in a weird way.
But doesn't because
why is Hulk there?
Mm-hmm.
It just
But they kind of explain why Hulk is there.
Fuck Ragnarok.
It's such a good movie.
Fucking no.
It's such a good movie.
I did that thing. I read too much about it. I got so excited. I was like, we're getting World War Hulk right now? Fuck yes. No, we did not. He didn't. World War Hulk, he pulls the planet back together. The planet's cracking.
Because it had ideas of World War Hulk, okay?
I don't care.
At least we got a good amount of the Hulk in something as opposed to just like in the Avengers where he's like not that much of a character.
Until he's beating up Loki.
Yeah.
Beauty God. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. Disney just hasn't really been killing me with their, like, killing it for me with their series. Disney hasn't been killing me. Hasn't been killing it for series-wise. Like, the end of Mandalorian I really liked, but it took until the end, and I thought this was going to happen with this, and it just didn't really.
Yeah, no, I
didn't
really
get me.
like. I think everybody has a different expectation of what these miniseries are going to be, and also I really want to point that out. They are going to be miniseries. There isn't going to be a season 2 of WandaVision. There was never an idea of that. It's like if you're going into the comic book series, like this is like a mashup specialty thing that would be in the comics. You know, that carries on with the storyline of everything.
And they're
else.
just fleshing out her character more. Yeah. And she's going to be popping in and out.
Exactly.
It's not like you're not going to see Wanda again. Yeah. It's just she's not going to be the focal point for the foreseeable future. They might have another Wanda series later on about another story arc of hers.
Yeah,
but
it won't be called WandaVision. It'll be called like maybe Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, Scarlet Witch in Scarlet Witch in the Hex or something. Yeah. I don't know.
And then so like this next one, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it's going to be about Falcon. I can't remember the character's name.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Well, yeah, but no, it's going to be about Falcon, like them really figuring out where they fit in without Captain America, like without Steve around, like taking the mantle of Captain America, you know, because like they can't be Steve Rogers, but they want to they want to like, you know,
it's the symbol thing.
Yeah, they want to live the, you know, control, like let the symbol live on with them, which is what Steve also wants. Yeah. So they have to find what that means to them, because Captain America is more than just a person; he is a symbol.
And I do like that they kept. We'll wrap it up soon. Mm-hmm. I do like that they kind of are keeping with that idea that was introduced in Thor, that magic and science are the same thing. Magic is just science you don't understand.
Yeah.
That. I really liked that sci-fi fantasy kind of melding that they do. Yeah. Also because it's like you have Agnes or Agatha, who is a technical witch from
the Salem times.
The Salem times in that way, and then you have Scarlet Witch, who is magic but from technology experiments.
Kind of.
But she can still do magic like Agatha can do.
No, so it seemed like, unless I misinterpreted that, I felt like Wanda had always had the innate ability to do magic, because like when the Stark Industry bomb landed while they were in their homes as children, it's alluded that she shielded her and Pietro from that bomb and was able to keep them alive until they were found 6 days later.
Yeah, but the bomb didn't go off.
Oh no, that's right. She disarmed the bomb. She had the ability to disarm the bomb. That's what it was.
But then that makes sense because she already had this kind of innate ability, and then the stone awoke something.
And then the Mind Stone, awoke it in her. Also, oh my God, when her and Vision were talking, and she's like, "You are a piece of the Mind Stone that lives inside of me." I was like, "Called it!" And then she keeps talking. I'm like, "Oh, she means that's not literal. That she means that metaphorically." Oh, okay. Yeah. I was like, "Oh, okay. She didn't pull a piece of the Mind Stone out. Okay. Get it. Stop. Calm down, Jake. Calm down.
Very metaphorical. She's being sweet.
Yes. But yeah, no, I think she's innately had these abilities. And I think Pietro innately had those abilities as well, but his interaction with the Mind Stone popped it out of him as well.
It's basically it's like that like Magneto plan kind of happened to them in a weird way. Like forced mutation. Yeah. As opposed to natural mutation.
They got their father's wish.
Weird. That's weird. Actually, I didn't even mean to connect that.
That's actually really cool.
That's weird.
I don't know if they meant to do that.
I don't know if they. I feel like no. That's that kind of.
I don't know. Who knows? Kevin Feige's.
Well, they're just so different, and like how many years in between and everything. I feel like that. I think that was just an accident. I think that was just a coincidence. Yeah. Because honestly, who even thinks about the first X-Men movie? The only reason it comes to mind is because I watched it like the other week.
That's fair. Yeah.
Like that movie's 20 years old. Good God.
I don't know. I'm curious. I mean, the thing I will say is that yes, I was kind of like womp on like the ending of WandaVision. I still did enjoy it, and I'm interested in where it's going further.
Yeah, like it definitely like I was womp about it, but it's like I'm going to watch any of these Marvel, especially like I'm excited about Doctor Strange just because it's going to tap into the multiverse thing, which I've been wanting them to do forever.
And knowing that WandaVision or Wanda as Scarlet Witch is a big part of the movie. Yeah, you know that makes me interested in, you know, like it was a fucking 9-episode long trailer for Doctor Strange.
But yeah, so I mean, it's gonna be interesting, and it's just like you said, they have like 14 different shows coming up lined up, so you're getting a lot of content, and you're gonna
pull back on making as many movies with this as well.
That would make sense because also that's a lot of time and money you're spending if you're going to be doing these kind of long mini series and then you're going to do these huge ensemble productions. It's like, well, why don't you just stick with the miniseries thing and maybe you just don't have to make the movies.
Well, you stick with the miniseries thing and then
you do another Infinity War,
a
big thing, you know. So yeah, it'll be interesting, and I kind of like that idea. It's like just do a bunch of miniseries and then have this big, huge ensemble production that's gonna be in theater. So you watch all the little stuff at home, and then you go see the big, the final act that all of these things have been leading to. Would be cool, but it just sounds like a lot of content to ingest.
Yeah, well, they have the people to do it, and they have the fucking resources to pull from.
Yeah.
I think that's our cue.
Yeah. Totally.
All right, guys.
Are we still doing
Final Fantasy next week?
Are we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So join us next week. We're going to be doing Final Fantasy
Spirits Within. We're going to have to learn a lot of name pronunciation.
Yeah.
I was about to try to say his name. I'm like, I haven't looked it up well enough yet. But he actually created the Final Fantasy series.
Yeah, and so we're going to be... Yeah, that'll be our last of our animation month. And then we will follow probably that with more animation, like feature film stuff.
We'll figure it out. Yeah. But yeah, so thank you everybody for listening. And...
yeah, have a good night.
Have a good one.
This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's Mixtape. Woo!